You didn't actually think you were coming, did you? My mom smirked. I reversed my card charges. An hour later, their family reunion was canceled, and so was my tolerance for their treatment. I, 31M, have always had a complicated relationship with my parents, especially my mom. Growing up, I was the forgotten middle child, sandwiched between my older brother, who could do no wrong, and my younger sister, who was the apple of my parents' eye. But what happened last week crossed a line I never thought they'd cross. For context, my parents have been planning this massive family reunion in Hawaii for months. Everyone was invited: aunts, uncles, cousins, even some family friends. I initially declined because of work commitments, but when a major project wrapped up early, I decided to surprise everyone by joining. I called my dad to ask about the hotel they were staying at so I could book a room. He seemed weirdly evasive, but eventually gave me the information. I thought nothing of it and booked my flight and hotel room, putting the charges on my credit card. I was actually excited. It had been years since I'd seen some of my relatives. The day before my flight, I called my mom to let her know I'd be joining them after all. There was a long pause on the line. You didn't actually think you were coming, did you? She said with what I can only describe as a smirk in her voice. I was confused. What do you mean? I just booked everything yesterday. Oh, honey, she laughed, that condescending laugh I've known all my life. This trip is for actual family. You know, people who make an effort to be part of our lives. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I am family. What are you talking about? When was the last time you called? Or visited? Your brother calls every week. Your sister comes over for dinner twice a month. You're practically a stranger. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Yes, I lived further away than my siblings. Yes, my job kept me busy. But I called on birthdays and holidays. I visited when I could. And now I was being told I wasn't actual family. Cool, I said, trying to keep my voice steady as I pulled up my banking app. I understand. While still on the phone, I casually reversed the charges on my credit card, both the flight and hotel. My mom was still talking, listing all the ways I'd been a disappointment, when I interrupted her. Mom, I've got to go. Hope you all have a great time. I hung up before she could respond. An hour later, my phone exploded with notifications. Apparently, when I reversed the charges on my card, it triggered something in the booking system. Not only was my reservation canceled, but somehow, and I swear this wasn't intentional, it canceled the entire group booking my parents had made. My dad called first, yelling about how I'd ruined everything. Then my brother, calling me selfish. My sister sent a series of texts telling me I was dead to her. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly had my number, all blaming me for ruining the family reunion. I tried explaining that I only canceled my reservation, but no one would listen. According to the hotel, the entire booking was linked, and my cancellation triggered a system-wide cancellation. The airline told them the same thing about their flights. By evening, my mom called again, this time sobbing instead of smirking. The reunion was officially canceled. No rooms available to rebook, no flights available for their dates. Everything they'd planned for months was gone. How could you do this to us? She cried. I didn't have the heart to tell her I hadn't meant to cancel everything. Part of me felt terrible, but another part remembered her words. This trip is for actual family. I guess I'm not family enough to care. I replied before hanging up. It's been a week. Half the family isn't speaking to me. The other half wants me to pay for their canceled flights and hotel rooms. My parents have left dozens of voicemails, alternating between guilt-tripping and threatening legal action. I know I should probably come clean that it was an accident, but after years of being the forgotten child, there's a small, petty part of me that's enjoying being the center of attention for once, even if it's negative attention. Am I the asshole for not telling them it was an accident? And for not offering to help them rebook everything? Update 1. It's been 3 days since my post, and a lot has happened. First, thank you all for your comments and support. I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. After reading your responses, I decided to call the hotel directly to understand exactly what happened. Turns out, my parents had made what's called a master booking, essentially one reservation under their name with multiple rooms. When I made my reservation, the hotel system automatically linked it to their group booking because I used the same last name and mentioned I was joining a family reunion. When I canceled my reservation, the system flagged the entire booking for review. The hotel tried calling my parents to confirm the rest of the booking was still valid, but they didn't answer. After multiple attempts with no response, the system automatically canceled everything. As for the flights, that was even more of a coincidence. Apparently, there was a major storm warning issued for Hawaii the day after I canceled my reservation. The airline canceled numerous flights, including my family's. It had nothing to do with my cancellation at all. Armed with this information, I called my parents. My dad answered, and I calmly explained everything. He was quiet for a long time before admitting they never answered calls from unknown numbers, which explained why they missed the hotel's calls. "So it wasn't intentional?" he asked. "No, Dad. I only meant to cancel my reservation. The rest was just bad timing and bad luck." He sighed deeply. "Your mother might need more convincing." I asked him to put her on speaker and explained everything again. Her response? "Well, if you hadn't canceled in the first place, none of this would have happened." Classic mom, never admitting she might be wrong. But then my dad surprised me. "If you hadn't told him he wasn't welcome, he wouldn't have canceled," he said quietly. There was a tense silence before my mom burst into tears. Not her usual manipulative crying, but genuine sobs. Between gasps, she admitted she'd been hurt when I initially declined the invitation. She'd convinced herself I didn't care about the family, and her pride got in the way when I changed my mind. "I was wrong," she finally said. "And I'm sorry." Those 3 words, "I was sorry," I don't think I've ever heard them from her before. We talked for over an hour. Really talked. About years of feeling overlooked, about their expectations, about my life choices. It wasn't all resolved in one conversation, but it was a start. As for the reunion, my dad had already started looking into rebooking everything. I offered to help with the costs, not out of guilt, but as a gesture of goodwill. We're now looking at dates in the fall, and yes, I'm officially invited. I'll update again after the reunion, if people are interested. For now, I'm cautiously optimistic that something good might come out of this mess after all. Update 2. It's been 2 months since my last update, and I'm writing this from a beachfront hotel in Hawaii. Yes, the family reunion was rescheduled, and yes, I'm here. The planning process wasn't smooth. My mom oscillated between being genuinely apologetic and falling back into old patterns. There were moments when I nearly backed out again, but my dad acted as mediator. He and I have developed a closer relationship through all this, something I never expected. My siblings were a different story. My brother remained cold until about 2 weeks before the trip. He called me late one night, slightly drunk, and admitted that he'd always been jealous of my freedom, my career, my life away from our parents' constant scrutiny. It was eye-opening to realize that while I envied his golden child status, he envied my distance. My sister took longer to come around. She's always been mom's defender. It wasn't until we were both here in Hawaii, sitting on the beach watching the sunset, that she finally opened up. "Mom was devastated after your call," she said. "Not because of the cancellation, but because she realized how she'd been treating you. She cried for days. I didn't know how to respond to that. Part of me was glad my mother had experienced some remorse, but another part wondered why it took something so dramatic to make her see me as a person with feelings. The reunion itself has been surprisingly pleasant. My extended family either doesn't know the full story or doesn't care. My cousins and I have picked up where we left off years ago, and there's a comfort in that familiarity. As for my parents, there's been a shift. My mom still slips occasionally, making comments about my job or my lack of a serious relationship, but she catches herself now. Sometimes she even apologizes without prompting. Small steps, but significant ones. Last night, we had a family dinner on the beach. As everyone was chatting and laughing, my mom pulled me aside. "I'm glad you're here," she said, squeezing my hand. "Not just here in Hawaii, but here as part of this family. I'm sorry it took almost losing you to realize what I had." I didn't know what to say, so I just hugged her. It wasn't a perfect moment. Decades of complicated feelings don't disappear with one apology, but it was genuine. We're heading home tomorrow. I've already made plans to visit my parents next month, and my dad and I are planning a fishing trip, just the 2 of us. I'm not naive enough to think everything is fixed, but for the first time in my adult life, I feel like there's a path forward with my family. Sometimes accidents, even ones that seem catastrophic at the time, can lead to necessary changes. I never intended to cancel their entire trip, but I'm starting to think it was the wake-up call we all needed. Update 3. It's been almost a year since the Hawaii incident, and I wanted to give a final update because so many of you have messaged asking how things are going with my family. The short answer, better than I ever expected. The longer answer, we've all been working on it. After Hawaii, I started seeing a therapist to process my childhood and the complex feelings I have toward my family. It's been challenging, but incredibly helpful. I've learned to set boundaries while still maintaining relationships, something I never thought possible with my parents. My mom and I have established a weekly phone call. Sometimes they're brief and surface level, other times we dig deeper. Last month, she actually asked about my childhood and listened, really listened, when I told her how it felt to be constantly overlooked. She cried, I cried, and while it didn't erase the past, it acknowledged it in a way we'd never done before. My dad and I went on that fishing trip, and it's become a quarterly tradition. He's opened up about his own difficult relationship with his father, giving me context for why he was so distant during my childhood. Understanding doesn't excuse, but it helps. My siblings and I have found a new equilibrium too. My brother and I text almost daily now, mostly memes and sports commentary, but occasionally deeper stuff. My sister invited me to her daughter's birthday party last month, the first family event I've been included in without it being a major occasion. The most surprising development? My parents are coming to visit me next week. They've never been to my home before, always insisting I come to them. But they're making the effort now, and I'm both nervous and excited to show them my life. I won't pretend everything is perfect. My mom still has moments where she slips into old patterns. I still have days where resentment bubbles up, but we're talking about it now instead of letting it fester. Someone commented on my original post that sometimes it takes an earthquake to reshape the landscape. That accidental cancellation was our earthquake. The landscape of our family looks different now, more open, more honest, with room for all of us to exist as we are. To everyone who shared their own family stories in the comments, thank you. Knowing I wasn't alone in these complicated feelings helped more than you know. And to those who encouraged me to give my family another chance, you were right. Some relationships are worth rebuilding, even when it seems impossible. I don't think I'll be posting any more updates. This chapter of our family drama has closed, making way for something new, something better. And for the first time in my life, I'm actually looking forward to our next family gathering, one where I know I'm truly welcome.